Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you for being here. And if you haven't seen my first anxiety tips video and my personal history with anxiety, I would suggest watching that before this one. I will link it right there, I think. My name is Jana Bolin. I'm 24 years old. I'm married. I'm doing school for medical billing and coding. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just me trying to put out there what I've learned, maybe to help somebody. I don't know. If you find this helpful, please give it a like, subscribe if you're interested in more. I think that I'm going to be making some more videos like this. It's a little bit therapeutic for me, and I think that it might be helpful to some people. I don't know where this is really going to go, so go ahead and subscribe and we'll see what happens. Thank you for your support and thank you for being here. So let's just jump into it. First thing, hot and cold. So especially in the winter, one thing that really helps me to feel like calmed down and soothed is to simply just put my hands in some running hot or warm water. For some reason, that just makes me feel really cozy. Obviously, it doesn't really work as well in the summer, but if it works for some parts. The next thing still kind of has to do with temperature. It's showering at night. I started showering at night and it's really soothing. Again, it's the warmth, it sets the tone for the night, it washes the day away. I'm more prepared for the next morning. Mornings can really feel overwhelming for me, especially if I, have to get ready to go somewhere. Just checking that off of my list can really help. And even more on the topic of temperature is a heating pad. I got this one from Amazon. As you can see, it's pretty darn big. It spans my entire back. So I like to lay on the couch, like a little elevated by some pillows behind me, and then put this down my back, but like specifically on my neck because I hold a lot of like tension in my neck and my upper back. So having this warmth almost like forces my muscles to kind of relax. So I highly suggest a heating pad. Give it a shot. My next tip is on the topic of breathing. Again, breathing is very important. One thing I didn't mention in my past video was, you should breathe deeply, but you need to exhale all of that stagnant air. Don't just, you want to like, let it all out. I've heard of like a technique called belly breathing. I am no pro at it. I would really benefit from researching it more. Maybe that's something you want to jot down too. But I believe it's breathing like with your deep down to your belly as opposed to just up here. When I'm having trouble like breathing really shallow and having a lot of anxiety, feeling like I can't breathe, like my diaphragm is too tight, it helps me to get all of that stagnant air out. That way I can really take a really deep breath. So give that a shot. Pay a little extra attention to your breathing. Another thing that helps is if you're really like starting in on like a panic attack, look up on YouTube guided breathing videos. And a lot of times it'll be like a little thing that goes in and out. That can really, really help you pace your breathing, and it's really worked on my husband a lot. The iWatch also has a breathe app where it's pretty much the same concept. You like breathe in and out, and it looks like that. Ooh. I don't know if you could see it, but if you have an iWatch, check that out. You can actually set reminders to do that. It will remind you to take a second to breathe. And that can be really, really handy too. All right, now the next thing can sound a little cliche as well, but it's massage. When I get a lot of anxiety, like I said, my muscles tense up like crazy, and then it's just sore for like a week straight. Particularly my neck muscles, it kind of feels like I can't like rest my head without feeling like they're flexed. It's bad. But my husband and I got a percussion massager that's just because the lights are really bright. But we got a percussion massager on Amazon. And it was only about 30 bucks, which I know only, but well worth it, well worth it. He is an HVAC technician. So he is always having sore muscles from lifting units up into attics and crawling in small spaces and all of that. But it really, really like helps to impact the muscles. And one thing that I like to do for myself is put it on my neck. So what I do is I kind of like, I lay down on the ground and I just do this. And I rub it on my neck muscles like that. So I'm fully in control, but my neck muscles are fairly relaxed if I'm laying on the ground like that. But I could do my whole back like that too. If you're flexible enough, you could put it down on your back like that and do it for yourself. But that's just something that's really, really helped me. On the note of muscles, be intentional when you get out of bed. When you are getting out of bed, especially if you're a stomach sleeper, it's a smooth transition. Roll back on your folded legs and put your arms forward and hunch your back over. And that really, really stretches out your upper back here, which is where I hold a lot of tension. So you're stretching out like that and press up through your shoulder blades like that. It's gonna make a big difference, I promise. For the next one, some of you are gonna laugh, but for my anxiety, listening to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon has really helped. And it's actually been a little coping mechanism I've had since I was like 13 when I first heard it. If you haven't heard it, look it up, listen to it from start to finish. I think it's about 44 minutes or something like that. But it's a journey. It really, especially like the heartbeat in the beginning and all of the tempo just really, you know, when you listen to music, your heart rate kind of sinks to it. So it's really hard to explain, and now I sound a little cuckoo, but whatever, I'm putting it out there. It's just got a flow and a nice pace, and it's a journey, and it feels like completion, and when I'm done listening to it, I just feel restored and rejuvenated. So the next thing is organizational, and organization really helps me with anxiety, honestly, because I can't keep everything up here. I can't remember everything. I'm only human. So to have a proper list is amazing. Now, to have the proper tools for that list is even better. I highly, highly, highly recommend Google Tasks. And that's because it's just so user-friendly. It's just so, you know, I could use it on my iPad, I could use it on my phone, I could use it on the computer. I can look at my Google Calendar while I look at my Google Tasks. It's just great. And I like to organize it by day. So I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I can pull these and move them. I could just press it and it just goes away and deletes, which is really nice because it's really annoying to try to like go into a document and like hit backspace, backspace, backspace to clear it out. You just press it and it's gone. So it's really, really convenient. I like to have my grocery shopping list on there too. But the main point is that you will not get everything done on your to-do list today. It's just not gonna happen. And if you do, then you're probably forgetting something, I don't know. I like to have a nice long running to-do list of not necessarily things that need to be done at a certain point, but just ideas that I have. Organizing my ideas is nice. But it's also important to remember that like it's okay to take things from Friday and move them to Saturday. And with this app, it's just been a lot easier for me to delegate tasks to certain days so I don't feel overwhelmed ever. It's just a really nice organizational tool. On the topic of lists, if you have something really big and scary coming up, like a wedding, a new job, a big trip planned, make a list, make a checklist, and call somebody to help you double check it to make sure that everything is there. Call somebody to help you go through it, check all the things off the list. Once it's done, remind yourself, all of the boxes are checked. You got this. Even if your fears are irrational, when you speak out your irrational fears, it makes it more tangible and easier to manipulate and combat. And by sharing these things with your friends and family, they can offer you solutions that you may have never thought of. I know what you're thinking. Nope, I've thought of everything, especially having anxiety. You think through everything, but I promise, maybe they've had the same thoughts. And, why are you watching this video if you've thought of everything, And if it's a situation that's making you anxious, perhaps they could help. Maybe they could do something to relieve the pressure. You just gotta let them know. The next tip is to cry. And that is something that I personally really, really need to work on. I stifle it. And I think that it's a leftover coping mechanism from when I was younger. If you haven't watched my personal history with anxiety, I was abused as a kid and I went through a lot of therapy. I typically don't really feel the urge to cry very often, maybe like 3 or 4 times a year, which I think is pretty unusual. But when I feel that urge, I feel embarrassed. And I have to understand that it's okay to take some time to yourself. If you live with other people, go to the bathroom. Go in the bathroom, cry. You'll be fine. You're gonna feel so much better if you just let that shit out. It only intensifies the situation if you hold it in. The next one is a mindset one. Statistical reasoning. Numbers are comforting to me. I say to myself, I have been okay 100% of the time. My odds are extremely good. Although I know you won't be completely convinced by this, and that's why it's useful to follow up with acceptance. I've been okay 100% of the time. My odds are extremely good of being okay, but it is okay to not be okay. That is okay. You will get through it. And then once you've done big things, it makes all the other things seem possible. And then you can reason with yourself that, see, I've done this, so I'm able to do this. So let's tell a horror story. I hate traveling. I hate surprises. I hate surprise traveling. I had a grandparent pass in January of 2019, and my parents bought a plane ticket for crack of dawn the next morning. I had to decide if I was gonna go too. And I decided that I can't let that parent go alone. I had to go. I got all of my shifts covered fairly quickly. Thank goodness I was a waitress at the time. Very thankful for getting all those shifts covered so quickly. So I bought my plane ticket. I packed my bags. I went to bed pretty late. The dog puked that night. I cleaned it up, went back to bed. I got up the next morning, and I like to give myself some time to, do my duty in the morning before I go somewhere. So I think I gave myself like 2.5 hours to get ready. And then my connecting flight from Tucson to Phoenix was canceled. So my parent called me and said that they're going to be there in 15 to 20 minutes instead of 2 hours. So now we have a 2.5, 3 hour drive to get to the airport. So they came, I got in the car. My parents said, we don't have any time for stops. And I have the world's smallest bladder. Should probably get that checked out. But I couldn't make it. I think we were about an hour away from the airport and I was about to burst. And we stopped, thankfully. I relieved myself, got back in the car. We made it to the airport and it was an immediate bathroom run. It was bad, but I freaking made it. I got to Ohio. I had the heart-wrenching trip, including driving in the snow, which, I don't like traveling. I don't like traveling in slippery conditions. I had a connecting flight back, including the Dallas airport, which is the 4th largest airport in the United States. And we almost went to the wrong terminal, but we made it home. My nightmare was conquered out of love. And love can be a very powerful motivator. So with that, I leave you with, do it scared. It will be done. You can do it. If you're religious, I'm finding my footing, but the phrase, give it to God, starts to have more power. And a really good one would be, The grace will come when you need it. And hey, if not, it's okay. There are people who you can trust that can help you. And you are human, and to be human means to be flawed and to be messy and to feel. And it's okay. You have to forgive yourself. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, blah, 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 comment, share it with your friends if you think this might help them. But really, thank you so much for being here, for listening to me. And really, if you like it, if you think it might be helpful to someone, please share it. Couldn't hurt, right?